Hi, good afternoon. I love to cook and bake. I've been baking since I was a little girl and I really love it. So today I thought I would share with you a recipe for molasses cookies. I call them molasses crinkles. They're one of the best cookies that I make and they're worthy of gift giving. I'm going to start off by preheating my oven to 350. All right, and then the first thing I will add into the mixer is my butter, which one of the reasons why these are so good is because there's a lot of butter. There's 3 sticks of butter, which is 1.5 cups of butter. I'm gonna start off by blending that together. It's softened, you soften it first, that way it's easy to cream it together. And while I am mixing that, and it's pretty easily mixed, I'm going to add the sugar. This calls for 2 cups of sugar. And we'll blend that all together until it's creamy. I've pre-measured my ingredients. I have all my ingredients here, but I've pre-measured them because of time constraints. I didn't want to take up all your day with measuring things and everything else. So I'm going to just let this mix together a little bit more. I want to get it nice and fluffy. All right, next I have 2 eggs I've brought to room temperature. I'll add the eggs. I'll let that blend. My other wet ingredient is some molasses. This is 1/2 cup of molasses, which is really, really thick. But obviously it's one of the key ingredients, seeing that they are molasses crinkles. Doesn't get out of the doesn't want to come out of the cup very easily, so I'm going to use a rubber spatula. This will get most of it out. I'm going to stop this for a second because I have to scrape it all down. You've got everything up at the top, so you have more butter and ingredients that are all mixed, so we want it all inside. I'm going to let that mix together while I add my dry ingredients to each other. I've already measured out 4.5 cups of flour. Into the 4.5 cups of flour, I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I have my spices, which includes 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground cloves, and 4 teaspoons of ginger. This is another key ingredient to the cookies. So in order to get these well blended, I use a whisk. It'll fluff it all up and blend it really well, because this is what you're going to mix into your wet to make your cookies. That is pretty well done. I am not the neatest baker in the world, I'll admit that. But I'm going to scrape this a little bit down again. Make sure it's all well in there. Turn that back on, let it really blend in. Slowly start mixing in my dry into my wet ingredients. That's usually when you're baking cookies or certain things, you make your wet ingredients first and then you gradually add dry ingredients into it. So add this in slowly. A little bit more flour to go. Now it starts to get too thick and pops out. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'll grab most of it, throw it back in. That's why you have to add it gradually or else it'll fly out. One more little bit. I like my mixer to do as much of the work as possible just because it's easier. All right, and now it's pretty much ready, but I just want to make sure everything is scraped down. I have to add one more ingredient, which I will use the mixer for, just so I can get it really evenly distributed. And I'll just make a little well here. I have another, the last ingredient is a quarter cup of chopped pecans. Those will go right in. And we'll blend that up nice. Okay, now I'm going to scrape all of this down. This all down. Very, very thick. I am going to move this over here. I have a baking sheet that's already prepared. Usually I would use parchment paper, but we ran out, so I'm going to use a baking mat. It's made out of silicone and it'll help the cookies not stick. These are nice and well blended. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a tablespoon and take a tablespoon of cookie dough. And the way you do these is you roll it into a ball. And then I have some nice sparkling sugar. I'll dip it into there. And then I will put it on the cookie sheet. We're gonna do a few of these and I'll be right back.